Hi, Wild Roses. So today I'm going to be talking about emotional vampires, but first I wanted to kind of explain to you guys a new and exciting thing that I have coming up. So I am currently working on my A Rose Manifested Holistic Lifestyle course, and I'll be launching this at the end of May, and it will be a month-long course. It's going to be $20 for that month. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a whole entire separate Facebook group, and we'll add probably about 10 girls, or women if you prefer. And we're going to do, we're going to try and meet up weekly, and we're going to do each day. I'm going to get onto the group and I'm going to post a question that's going to be your daily question to work on throughout the day. That's kind of just like a daily affirmation so that you can get focused and try and figure out what a holistic lifestyle looks like for you. So today what I'm talking about is emotional vampires. So have any of you had a relationship that is just draining, or where you're always giving and never receiving? So that's what is called an emotional vampire. There are three types of emotional vampires. So the first type of emotional vampires, and this is just from my personal experience. So the first type of emotional vampire is the naive emotional vampire. And these type of people they really don't realize that they're being an emotional vampire. They don't realize that they're draining from other people. They're kind of like wrapped up in their own world, and they can't really recognize what they're doing. The important thing to remember with these is to communicate your feelings. I would say don't ever make it feel like it's their fault. Just say, I feel like this, or try and explain it in a way that doesn't necessarily hurt their feelings, because like I said, they don't necessarily know that they're doing it. It's just something that kind of is in their nature. The second part of the emotional vampire is, again, just in my personal life, is the emotional vampire who is kind of like egotistical. And these people believe that everything is about them. And they can be kind of similar to the naive emotional vampire in the fact that they just don't know that they're affecting you, when realistically they know, they just don't really care because it's all about them. And again, it's really, really, really important with both of these types of emotional vampires to communicate how you're feeling. If you feel that somebody is draining the energy from you, try and talk to them about it in the nicest way possible, but make sure that you're expressing your feelings. You don't want your throat chakra to be blocked. And these types of emotional vampires, the egotistical vampires, can tend to mow you over, especially if you're a giving or soft-spoken person. So the next type of emotional vampire is the helpful emotional vampire. And these are the type of people that are, the friends or the mom who, those jeans just don't look very good on you. Maybe you should try going on a diet so you can be more healthy. Those type of people. They're really 100% just trying to be helpful and trying to, help you be the best you. And that can kind of be the hardest, just because they really are trying to be helpful, and you don't want to hurt their feelings, because it's not like they're trying to hurt you or trying to drain you. They're honestly trying to do the opposite of that. So how to prevent your emotions from being sucked away? The number one thing that I've been working on in my Facebook group, which is A Rose Manifested Wild Roses, is self-love. I think that if you have self-love, you start to realize what things start to drain you, and I think that that's super important. I've been working on this in my own life, as well as helping other women work through this in their own lives. And this type of draining can be caused by activities, but most of the time it's caused by emotional vampires. And that doesn't mean that we have to cut these people out of our lives. That just means that we need to maybe take a little bit of a break from them every once in a while, kind of give ourselves a time out. And as long as we're revisiting after a while, we're not just taking a time out and then months go by And then that person is left to wonder, you know, why did this person treat me like that? And those types of things. I think that as long, like I said, as long as we're revisiting, that can still be healthy. That's an okay thing. So another way to protect ourselves is to practice shielding. One of my favorite ways to practice emotional shielding is by kind of building layers of an egg. So if you imagine a golden egg around you and you start with the layer that's closest to you and you work your way out, you kind of build your way out, and you can extend this egg over yourself, over your family, over your friends, over your house. You can really build it once you get to that point as big as you want it to be, and that's a really powerful thing. And the other way that I like to imagine it, depending on what type of a mood I'm in or how, I don't want to say weak, but how weak I'm feeling in that moment, is to imagine myself pulling a blanket of white light and start from my feet and work myself all the way up to my head. Kind of like when you were little and you had a bad dream, or you were hiding from a boogie monster or something like that. Imagine that you're pulling that white light blanket of protection all the way over the top of you. And after you've done, you know, either the egg or the blanket of white light, whichever works better for you, just take a few deep cleansing breaths. I know that sometimes it seems weird, but if you're taking your time out and you're being, you know, let me work through this. Okay, now what were we talking about? Or how can we address this situation? And just be patient with yourself, because a lot of times when we start working on this, it can be almost kind of more harmful to us because we don't get it right away, or we don't feel that we're creating that golden egg, or, you know, that blanket is strong enough. And you'll get there. You can get to the point where as soon as you even think about it, it's there and you know that it's helping you. So the biggest thing for all of this, emotional vampires and ourselves, is to just love everyone. Everyone is going through their own struggles relatively. There's not one person who has a struggle that's harder or bigger or better than yours. It's all just relative. So the struggles that I feel in my life are very personal to me, and the struggles that you feel in your life are also very personal to you. And we each deal with them and react to them in a different way, and that's very important to understand. And it's important to notice how these emotional vampires affect us, but it's not our job to judge them. So we never want to like point out, oh, you're an emotional vampire and you're acting this way, because that's kind of stooping to their level. We always want to bring people up to our level. We want to invite them to, you know, share what we're experiencing. So through love and light, we're bringing them up to our level versus stooping down to their level and judging them. And not everybody will get this right away. I think that some people, it can take years for them. I've had some people, it's take 5 or 6 years of me being friends with them for them to finally say, you know, that the way that you acted in this situation really helped me as a person to realize that that's okay, that you don't have to be judgmental to be labeled a certain thing, and that, you know, kind of just the realization that labels don't even matter. And some people just don't ever get it. Some people will never understand, and those are the people that I tend to kind of keep more at a distance from, and that's okay too. That doesn't mean that I love those people any less. That just means that I recognize that our vibrations aren't the same, and I still, you know, send them love and light, but that doesn't mean that I don't want them in my life. So I think every single one of you can learn to love unconditionally. I think just the fact that you're here and you have read my post or you're watching this video means that you have that capability and that you are capable of loving other people and loving yourself. And so I would like to say to go with light and love and spread your blanket of white light positivity over everyone. Thanks, guys. Bye.